app today. Available Google and Apple stores.
Hey, Granville County. This is Angela Allen with Granville County Tourism Development Authority. Do you want to bring more visitors into Granville County? Well, I encourage you to come learn about the Uplift Tourism Program and how you can get involved in enhancing tourism in our community. The event will take place on January the 26th from 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m., starting with refreshments at 5:30 and a presentation at 6 p.m. at the Granville Expo and Convention Center, located at 4185 US 15 in Oxford, North Carolina. Project Uplift is a collaborative effort between the Appalachian State University, NC State University, and Naturescapes. Its goal is to boost tourism in rural North Carolina by working across county borders to support local tourism leaders and practitioners to realize their unique vision for tourism in their communities. Project Uplift will work with us in Granville County and surrounding counties like Person and Caswell, as far as other 4 county cohorts. So take the time to kick off this event with us on January the 26th at the Granville Expo and Convention Center and learn how we can bring more visitors into Granville County. To guarantee your spot, please RSVP by January the 20th. You can either send an email to angela.allen@granvillecounty.org, or you can call 919-693-6125.
Good morning, this is Matthew on Nextdoor Radio with Friday's weather forecast. Mostly sunny this afternoon and evening with a high near 54 and a wind between 10 to 15 miles per hour. Clear skies tonight, a light wind out of the northwest and a temperature of 34. About the same tomorrow, around 49 with mostly sunshine and a wind at 6 miles per hour out of the northwest. Cool with a high around 42 and cloudy in the morning and then sprinkles Sunday with a light wind. This forecast is sponsored by Vanco Outdoor Equipment. Thank you for supporting Nextdoor Radio.
It's time for local talk here on Nextdoor Radio, nextdoorradio.com, and the Nextdoor Radio app. And good morning. Welcome to a local talk here live on Nextdoor Radio, nextdoorradio.com, and the Nextdoor Radio app. Like as she does every single Friday, Miss Kelly Siphon, she is with Applied Behavior Happiness, and this is Behavioral 911. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm doing well.
Thank you so much for once again coming into the studio today. We had the pleasure of bringing our son out to the farm. I said, I told you the other day, last Friday, that my wife was extremely jealous that I got to go and they didn't. So we set something up, Abel, and look, he had a fantastic time. My wife, I think she loved it even more. But let's kind of do a little infomercial in the beginning and kind of get that out of the way, and we'll dive deep into some of the things that we can do on the farm. But do a little infomercial, a little 30-second infomercial if you can.
Absolutely. So the services on the farm are going to really focus in on how do we use this context to be able to hit the skills that your child needs most. And it's a wonderful place because it's so unpredictable and it's got so many opportunities for learning and it's full of wonder. It's one of those places where nothing is as your day-to-day life normally is. So all the patterns of behavior, all those different things that are really tightly established in your life as it is, there's a little break from that. There's a little room from that. And in that space and in that time, you can really find some new ways to target different challenges and find some new solutions, get them set up in that place so you can take them home with you.
One of the things that he wanted to do the most was, feed the ducks or feed the, some animals and stuff like that, where he was so excited and all of a sudden one bit him in the hand.
Yes.
And then he was like, okay, I'm done. I'm over it. Talk a little bit more about that when that happens, what do you do?
Absolutely. So in those moments, first of all, I know that the ducks, it's shocking when they nibble on your fingers, but it won't hurt you. Like, no, pretty well, if you can walk, you're not going to get any damage. So I know in that moment that it's terrifying. Being the child that was bit by a duck as a child and was terrified, I know that it's terrifying, but that they are also okay. So in that moment, it's my job to say, yeah, that was scary. And that's it. Yes, that is absolutely the truth of this moment. That was scary. I don't have to say that they're okay. Just keep it rolling.
And that's what it's like. Say, bro, you're all right. Get over it. You're fine. That's the dad in me. You just gotta say,
you'll be tough fine. To take that second part out, that you'll be fine part. Because I can't promise that they'll be fine.
Yeah.
I can't promise that they'll be okay. All I can do is say, it was scary.
Yeah.
That I know is true. The rest of it, I'm hoping will be true.
Yeah.
But if I just state what I know and keep everything moving, they'll find that to be true on their own.
There you go. Kelly Seifert joins us here by way of our studio, by way of on all of our social media outlets in the video, but of course, nextdoorradio.com and the Nextdoor Radio app available by Google and Apple Store. My name is Trey Snyder. Phone number 919-618-9258. Another thing that he got to do was really walk through the goat pasture. Should you say? I think that's the correct word for it.
It is.
And I think we spent the most time in that area because there was so much to kind of get into there.
Absolutely. And it was very sweet. You gave me the warning up ahead of time that he wants to ride a goat really badly. Yeah. And so all I did in that moment, and we talked about this as well, is just state the consequence of that action. Hey, if you ride the goat, it will hurt the goat. Mm-hmm. And if the goat is hurt, then, it's going to be really, really sad. Mm-hmm. That was it. That's all I needed.
Wow.
He just put his hand right on the tail of the goat and said, I'm petting your tail. I'm not going to ride you. I'm just petting your tail. Okay, bud. Fantastic choice. So providing that statement of consequence and then doing my best, and it can be hard sometimes, not to step in too soon. So when he went to sort of hop next to the goat, but he didn't put his leg over, just let it sit for a moment. When he went to stand over the goat for a second, sort of testing let me think about that consequence a little bit. And doing my best to sit back and go, okay, we're still safe. We're still safe. We're still safe. He needs to test this a little bit. He needs to know and have the space to think through this consequence in order to choose the correct behavior. And then he did. He did a fantastic job.
Wow. Well, that's good to hear as a parent. One of these situations there, he wanted to show you something. And this is talking about me and my son now, who was 5 years old. We had the pleasure of going there after school. And this past Wednesday. So one of the situations, he wanted to show you something to be able to, hey, this is my screaming goat.
Yes.
His grandfather gave him, which
his little screaming goat toy.
Yeah, I know he's listening. He's watching, so I'm calling him out there. But you said, all right, we don't want that right now. Mm-hmm. Change the subject. But as a parent, to me, it's like, man, bro, you don't need this goat right now. Leave it alone. Move on. And so it's a hard transition to kind of go that route. You did a great job of really showing not only you had the kid, the 5-year-old, but hey, you have a 35-year-old dad. Hey, you can do this too.
Yeah, and
that's hard transition.
That can be a really tough line to walk because I don't want to be like, oh, well, you need to do this, you need to do that, as an adult talking to an adult. Where I come from is as a behavior specialist talking to someone who's been in this pattern of behavior with their child that they've expressed that they don't want. I don't want to argue with my kid anymore. I'm tired of them always arguing with me. It's always a negotiation. I say no, they scream at me. So then in that space of this is the value that you've put forth, I step in and go, hey, here's another path. And the path in that particular moment was find something as the adult that you think is really cool here. And we're just going to take the time to redirect inside of this pasture where we're kind of stuck right now. So we can't follow you. We can't hang on your leg. We can just create the space and practice that redirection.
There you go. Kelly Seifert joins us here by way of our video and by way of our website, nextdoorradio.com and the Nextdoor Radio app. So in this instant, we want to bring into kind of a whole new topic here, the tantrum side of things.
Yes.
How do you what's the best way to go about doing something?
So I'm doing the first beta test of my Tantrums and Meltdowns Intensive right now, and it's going really well. The families are amazing. They're making fantastic progress. We're just in the first couple of weeks, and it's been really cool to watch. The first thing we want to do is split what's the difference between a tantrum and a meltdown for my child. And a tantrum often lines up with, I want something and it didn't go my way. And a meltdown often lines up with, I do not have the skills to handle this moment. They can come together, or one can lead into the other. But it's interesting, especially working with the group I have currently, where I've got some kids that just melt down. They just don't have the skills for the moment. They just can't handle it. Their body can't take it. They have a visceral reaction. I've got other kids who just tantrum. They just didn't get what they want, and they're really upset about it. And then I've got kids who sort of switch in between. So when we're talking about what we're going to do in those situations, first we need to figure out where are we sitting? What are we actually seeing?
So dive more into that program if you can, because that's fascinating. I mean, that's something you
Yes.
just don't hear about that kind of stuff a lot. So dive a little bit deeper if you can on that.
Absolutely. So, what we're focusing on in the first part of the program is how do we break down behaviors? How do we find not only the triggers that happen before, describe the behavior itself and what happens after, but what are the things that sit over your whole day and change the mood? What are the things that create motivation to engage in that behavior more or decrease the motivation to engage in that behavior, even when the trigger for it is present? And we're breaking all those things down so that we can see exactly what the mechanisms are behind what's happening. Then we can start to create our responses to it.
Absolutely love it. Again, that's a situation where it is tough and like to kind of get over that hump as a parent too,
Mm,
not just the kid, because of course the child wants something. They want this. They get their box of cereal, or they get to play with the goat, or they didn't get to show you something that they really wanted, or bring the baseball to school, whatever it is.
yes.
And so as a parent, let's go that side now.
Mhm.
We talk a lot about the kids, but the parents, it's a hard transition to be able to split that stuff right down the middle and say, hey, you can't do this because of this. But then they start hitting and fussing. Not necessarily that's, not talking about my child now, but
Sure,
in general.
sure. Kids in general,
Yeah. I mean,
absolutely.
so as a parent, what would you say to the parent to do something to kind of move on from that situation?
That's a tough one to answer in a short period because, again, there's so many little nuances that I talk about with parents about the split between is it a tantrum, is it a meltdown, the what was in the motivation behind this, what was in the trigger. But if I'm looking at that moment of I wanted something and it didn't go that way, often what I will ask for is can we safely just step away from this argument? So what I think about it is like this: if I was teaching someone how to box, I would ask them to spar with me. So if I'm teaching a child how to fight, I'd ask them to fight with me. And in order to stop that practice, I'm going to have to find ways to just stop.
Hmm.
And I say that so simply. It's
Yeah.
so, oh, just stop arguing, just stop fighting.
No.
Yeah, it's not. It's
Yeah.
incredibly hard. And it's part of the reason I have a job is because it's so hard. And finding those steps and those ways for your family that fit within your family's values is integral to success.
Man, that's again, as a parent, it's tough to hear. It's like you can do something a little bit better because this works.
Mm.
The transition, the conversation, the not arguing back. I mean, everything is hard. I mean, it really is. Sometimes
It's
it's hard.
incredibly hard.
Yeah, I mean, so
Yeah. If you think about it too, it's how we were taught how to interact. Like if I think back to, the way my parents interact with me or the way I interacted with aunts and uncles, it was, if they didn't get what they wanted, I'd see them argue with each other or, they'd argue back with me or try to give me reasons and I didn't understand. And if I just pushed hard enough on this person, when I saw that they had that one little twitch in their eye, I knew I got them. I'd been taught to do that. I'd
Yeah.
sparred with them enough where I learned those things. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's really tough.
where, of course, what are some other programs you have offered at your office in general? We talk a lot about the farm,
Yes.
but some things that you offer inside of the classroom there at your actual office.
Absolutely. So at the office, I do intensives with kids. So if I've got a kiddo that's having some challenges that wouldn't be safe to address on the farm, we'll address them in the office. If they're, say, terrified of birds, I've got a big flock of ducks on the farm that I can't fully contain because they're free range. We're going to meet in the office, make sure that your child feels safe. From there, we also have a homeschool teacher and tutor in the office, so that's fully available
Oh, see,
there.
I didn't know that. That's okay.
Absolutely. Yep. Miss Catherine Weber of Rising Scholars Consulting has a room in my office. And then I'll do my assessments at the office. So if we just need to sit down, figure out all those pieces that I described that are going on in the intensive right now, if you're going, I just need someone to do it for me, great. I can do the full assessment. I can give you some things to do right now, referrals out to other providers or to myself if it's a good fit from there. And we'll move from there.
Fantastic. And what's the best contact and website to be able to get a hold of you?
Absolutely. You'll find me at appliedbehavioralhappiness.com. Click any of the red request appointment buttons. You can get a free 30-minute discovery call with me, or you can call 984-235-1058.
You're the best. Thank you so much.
Thank
I appreciate you. Again, Kelly Siphon with Applied Behavioral Happiness, here part of our Behavioral 911 every single Friday, beginning at 10 a.m. right here on our local talk program and Nextdoor Radio, nextdoorradio.com, Nextdoor Radio app. We appreciate you. God bless you. Okay, we'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir.
Again, until next time, God bless. We'll see you later.
There are many things I love about Granville County. Here are just a few. Driving around the Masonic Home for Children at Oxford. Driving around the Central Children's Home in Oxford. Looking at the old railroad depot in Creedmoor. Driving around Butner and seeing the remaining buildings from Camp Butner. Visiting the many old cemeteries that we have in the county. My favorite cemetery has to be Elmwood in Oxford. Visiting the Richard H.